Three families are in mourning in Diepsloot in northern Johannesburg this afternoon. This after their young sons drowned in a local river. They were aged between 7 and 10. And as the families grieve, they are appealing for help. My colleague and fellow eNCA reporter Heidi Giokos covering this story. She's joining us now in the studio. Heidi, good afternoon. This is a terrible tragedy for any family anywhere in the world. What happened here?
Very tragic indeed, Bradan. So what we do understand is there were four boys who decided to go on an excursion, play in the area, and this is when they decided to walk almost 5 kilometers from where they reside. They all literally live in the same streets. And what we understand is they went to a nearby dam where the three boys aged between 7 and 10 decided to jump into the dam and start swimming. The fourth boy then noticed that the three boys were struggling, and it seems as though there was a lot of mud underneath because there were heavy rains. The dam was, of course, very full, and they started drowning, and they were struggling to stay afloat. This is when the fourth boy decided he's going to start running and asking for help. But if you look at the area and the distance from where the dam actually is to a main road, it's very far. So by the time he got there, he noticed a Metro police officer. He then decided to ask for help. By the time they got back to the dam, unfortunately, the three boys had already drowned. It's very unclear why they decided to go to that specific area and that dam, because when you hear what the parents had to say, the parents explain all three boys as being very diligent, always staying in the area, playing, always focusing on their schoolwork, and not going too far away from the house. And it just seems as though on Monday afternoon, the circumstances were very different. And unfortunately, the three boys lost their lives. What's important here, though, is that the family, as well as authorities, are saying that people need to be very careful and need to be cautious, because with the heavy rains, the water might seem shallow, but it's not. And people should stay away from rivers, from streams, from dams. And the authorities are saying, guard your children, make sure you know your whereabouts of your children, and just make sure they stay away from dangerous areas, for example, dams and rivers and streams. Let's listen to what EMS spokesperson Robert Mulawatsi had to say.
If maybe young kids maybe were monitored, maybe we could have prevented the incidents. However, yes, we can confirm that yesterday afternoon at around 2, we were called by the local police that there were young kids who came to the local police to report that their friends were struggling in a local river stream. It looks like they were swimming in the area. And unfortunately, the other three boys who unfortunately drowned, they couldn't be able to assist them. Hence, they requested the assistance of us, of which we did go to the incident, and we managed to, together with the assistant of South African Police Service Water Wing, we recovered 3 bodies of 3 boys aged between 8, 9, and 10. And unfortunately, they were all of them confirmed dead on scene. And we also concerned that most of our river streams in our city are full now. So young kids will be tempted to go and play next to this river stream. So we're urging parents and adults out there to monitor young kids to stay away from this river stream, so that we can be able to prevent drowning incidents like this one.
Very tragic. I mean, this is a tragic incident. And how are the parents doing? I mean, you say they told you that these boys were diligent, they always played in the neighborhood, but suddenly the other day they found themselves in this faraway dam.
Yes, and I think the parents are very shocked. One must remember that it's only now just been 24 hours. So it's still very sudden for them and very raw for them to, of course, comprehend and digest what exactly has happened. The youngest being 7 years old. His birthday is actually in June. The 9-year-old just turned 9 in Feb, and the 10-year-old just turned 10 in March. So very young boys, but the family has explained all of them as very ambitious. The one father said that his son would always laugh at his father because his father would complain that he hadn't washed the dishes yet. And he was just very loving, full of life, and one can understand at that age you are full of life and you have so many plans and ambitions. What was also very interesting is that all three fathers, we didn't speak to them together, we spoke to them separately, each individually. They indicated that all three boys were very good at school, very smart, loved to read. As soon as they got home, they did their homework, and then only would they go and play. We also asked whether or not the boys would be buried together, because apparently they were very close. But we've been told that because everybody's from a different province, the two boys are from Limpopo and the other boy is from Gauteng, it's going to be very difficult for them to be buried close together. But of course, the family very devastated. What's also important is that the one family has indeed asked for any kind of assistance, because they don't have the means to bury their son, and it's the 7-year-old, in fact, that parents have actually asked for that assistance, to say that yes, they did have a funeral policy, but they don't have the means to cover other funeral costs. And I've actually tweeted about it, Bradan, so if anybody can assist, anything possible, I think the family would truly appreciate it. These boys were full of life, and now their families have to now focus on trying to bury them, which is of course very difficult. But we got to speak to two of the fathers. Let's listen to what they had to say.
I was asking for help, maybe for other kids, to be protected for those dams and everything that's there. Too dangerous for them for entering so easily through to the dams and everything. I'm not doing this only for me. Some of the kids, they also maybe never know in future, they could do the same as the other kids they've been done. So for me, I was asking maybe, what if we get in help, maybe we're closing up those breaches that needs to be closed up for kids not to be entering so easily through to it. So for me as a parent, somehow life is not become as the best as we want it to become. So we're struggling with some other things that we need to bury our children. So we would like also to have any help to the government and everything to bury the children. So we especially we need that help to bury our kids, and also that they've been drowned. I know most of the time when we're living here in this community, our family is not in a balanced situation. We all of us struggling. So I don't know about the other families, but I know for sure I've been living here for about more than 20 years.
I never thought this thing, it can happen in my family. So we're expecting more things from my son. Like the day before yesterday, he said to us, "Daddy, the house that you built, it's ugly. I'm going to buy a beautiful house for you when I start to work." We just laugh. I said, "No, just because I'm working alone. Yes, your mother is not working, so supposed to eat and go to school, pay accounts. So the money that I earn is very small." So we start to laugh, just like this.